Hi everyone, it's Nora, the blind therapist. Today, I want to talk to you guys about complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or C-PTSD. What is it? And how is it different from PTSD? What do we do if we have it? In this busy and fast-paced world, we may be operating on a routine, going through our days, doing our thing, and then seemingly out of nowhere, we may have a tendency to get angry, lash out, or even act in ways that we never thought we would do. And then we think, what was that? Or where did that come from? The answer might be trauma. Most of us may have experienced a specific type of big T trauma, PTSD, such as going to war or being in an automobile accident. But there's another very devastating type of trauma, a more ongoing or complex trauma, also known as C-PTSD. Let's talk a little bit more about a specific type of C-PTSD, childhood trauma. A traumatic event is defined as a dangerous, threatening, or violent event that poses a threat to our life or sense of security. When this happens in childhood, even just witnessing a traumatic event happening to a loved one can cause a lot of trauma in a child's developing brain. And this is because when we are little children, our sense of safety and security comes from the sense of safety and security of our primary attachment figures. So when that's threatened, then we ourselves are threatened. And then, as far as the traumatic events that might happen, there are some that are overt and obvious, such as physical and sexual abuse. But then there are some types of abuse that are more subtle and harder to recognize. These usually come in the form of attachment disruptions or attachment wounds. So when we are really young, think 1 to 5, our brains are still developing, and we look to our attachment figures to set an example for us and to model healthy behaviors and to teach us how the world works. Sometimes there are clear-cut signs of abuse and trauma. It's obvious that something bad happened to us. And when that happens, we need to attach. We all need to attach. But then attaching to our primary caregivers was dangerous because our attachment figures are the perpetrators, the scary monsters. And then, we grow up thinking that this is normal, thinking that there's nothing wrong, and we are hurting without even realizing. And then other times it is a little more subtle. Maybe no overt abuse was happening to us, but there was still something that should have happened, something that we should have gotten but never did. Like, for example, the love and acceptance from our attachment figures. Unfortunately, C-PTSD is not recognized in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, the DSM. This big book right here is what we clinicians use to diagnose different mental health conditions, and it talks about different conditions as well and things like that. So the APA, or the American Psychological Association, the people who write this book and who decides what goes into it, said, oh, we have PTSD. That should be enough, right? Well, I believe that for all of the reasons that I've talked about in this video and countless others, it really should be. Most of us probably know what PTSD is, or at least we've heard of it. And that usually occurs when we are exposed to a trauma one time. But C-PTSD can occur when there is repeated, prolonged exposure. And this doesn't just happen to children. This can happen to many different people, such as veterans, think torture, people who have been in concentration camps, and domestic violence survivors. Anywhere, wherever and whenever there was repeated, prolonged exposure. What can we do about this? Well, one form of therapy that I really like is dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT. This type of therapy helps us deal with very strong emotions and situations. And this is very effective because people who have been through trauma are dealing with very strong emotions and strong emotional reactions. My favorite way to work with trauma is through somatic and body work, which can be done through mindfulness or the Comprehensive Resource Model, or CRM, which focuses on working with the core self or the inner self. And this is because sometimes our emotions can get so strong and so powerful that we act in ways that we aren't consciously aware of. Or we may even black out. Well, not literally blacking out. But honestly, our emotions can get so strong and so powerful that we're just, boom, off to the races. Our brains may not even be aware of these traumas because they happened so long ago that they were stored away. And frankly, that's a good thing, because if we were walking around with them at the forefront of our minds, we'd probably have trouble getting through the day. But our bodies remember. Whether it was overt, obvious, or covert, subtle, a lot of us have been through some form of complex trauma. The first step is to be aware that this has happened to us. Finding that person that can sit with us and process through those strong emotions and those situations. Finding that person who can be a safe and secure base, who can help us explore and help us finally find those safe and secure attachment experiences. This video was mainly meant to inform and spread awareness of these subjects. I will create more videos going into more detail about these different types of treatments, as well as other mental health related content. I encourage you to share this video with anyone who you believe may have been through complex trauma. Anyone who you think can benefit from this information. And also help refer people to therapists in your area. And subscribe to my channel. And please leave a comment because I would love to interact with you. Thank you, and I can't wait to meet you.